Welcome to the Huddle Up podcast, and today we're here with Miss Starr Pittman. She's a student athlete advocate, and we're going to be going over several topics regarding recruiting, classes that you need to be taking, and several other interesting topics. Again, welcome to the Huddle Up podcast, and thank you for all the likes, shares, and comments. All right, what got you into helping students?
I will say that going through high school, even though I wasn't a collegiate athlete, we had really good counselors. So shout out to Brenda Ruiz, and Patricia Stanley and a few more that like stayed on us academically to make sure that there was a standard for academics. I kind of got involved like 2018, I think was the first time, and actually Adrian Chandler, me and him kind of started trying to help a group of kids. They were saying, hey, we want to go to college, play ball. Like, what do we need to do? So we reached out to coaches, and actually three of them ended up going. Cam Thomas, Amon Jefferson, and Malik Hankerson ended up signing to EWC in Jacksonville, and that process was very eye-opening, considering the classes that they needed. I did not know that the NAIA schools had their own eligibility center. So I learned a lot going through that process. So it started around 2018, and I've been at it ever since.
And what's one of the biggest things that parents need to be aware of when it comes to the whole process of getting their student athlete ready to graduate and go to college?
I always tell them that sports is the easy part. If you're talented or whatever gift you have on whatever athletic arena, that's the easy part. Making sure that you're doing your work, making sure that you're taking the right classes, making sure that you stay out of trouble. Just be an all around solid student athlete. Emphasis on student because that matters.
Do an enrollment first
Yeah.
for athletes.
Yeah. So I will say that dual enrollment is a good opportunity if you can take advantage of it. There are certain tests like the PERT that you would have to take, and actually it's offered if you are a part of the Upward Bound program. You can test twice with Upward Bound. They offer it twice at the high school, and then you can test actually at Santa Fe. Um, Everybody isn't cut for dual enrollment. I will say because you have to learn to balance basically being a college student. So there isn't a teacher telling you, hey, you need to turn this in. No, you're literally in college. You're going to get the syllabus at the beginning, and this is when all your assignments are due, and it's up to you to get it done. Everybody's not, mature enough to do that. My daughter started dual enrolling freshman year in the spring, but she was ready for that. And she played sports, and it's hard to manage your time. So actually, her first class, she failed, and I was like, okay, now you realize like it's real. You can't, joke around with this. But if you can do it, if you're gonna do sports and do dual enrollment, that's a very good possibility. As opposed to doing the AP classes where if you don't pass the exam with a 3 or better, you don't get the credit for the AP class. Well, you can take a dual enrollment class and it's gonna weight your GPA the same way. So you have kids who are intelligent and can do the work, but they're bad test takers.
So what's one of the things that you would tell a parent that's interested in their kid doing dual enrollment? What's the first process they need to, first step of that process? Like, who do they need to go see to?
They would need to go and talk to their guidance counselor at the high school, set up a PERT test date, let them know that they have an intention on being interested in dual enrollment or actually dual enrolling. And then it just goes from there.
Okay, and how does dual enrollment help student athletes, especially one that's getting noticed for sports?
It looks good. So out of the coaches, and I talk to a lot of coaches, I talk to a lot of recruiting coordinators. I deal with admissions. I dabble in a lot of the process. So from what actually one of the coaches from Memphis told me, it makes the athlete look like a more complete, rounded student. If they, okay, I play football, but what else do you do? Okay, I'm dual enrolled. Even like with Khalil, he's on the student government. You know what I'm saying? And I tell them like you want to be a complete person. You don't want to just, okay, I only play football and that's all I do. No, what else is there to you? And don't be afraid to be smart. Like if you smart, embrace that. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Don't just be one dimensional. Have layers to yourself. So I mean, it looks great. Um, it helps your GPA. It shows them that you're more than capable of, carrying the academic load and being able to juggle your extracurriculars and regular school. So it makes you very, very marketable. And like I said, it weights your GPA.
Well, what's one of the biggest things that I would say weighs down the athlete when it's time for the recruiter to come or that head coach who calling in and asking about grades, and they may not have a class that they haven't taken, or they probably didn't take a certain test. How does that work?
So GPA, when coaches ask, first of all, they'll know who you are. If you're that kid, they already know about you. One of the first three questions they're gonna ask for is film, what the GPA is, transcripts. And they're gonna look at those transcripts from ninth grade all the way through. So you find a lot of kids that have they're barely at a 2.3. That's not a good look. Because now, okay, if you have kid B, you guys can be the same size, same skills, same 40 times, same height, weight, identical highlight tape, but he has 3.0 and you got a 2.3. The 3.0 kid's gonna win out every single
Every time.
time, unless you're just that guy. And I mean, I've seen situations like that too, where you have really talented kids, but they don't have the grades. And it's like, okay, you have to plan this stuff out. Ninth grade going in, you need to use Florida Virtual Flex as a possibility to take classes all throughout the year. So that way, okay, yeah, you're taking 6 or 7 classes at school, but you're ahead of the game. And when I say eligible, I mean like the NCAA clearinghouse, well, the eligibility center for all intents and purposes now. They require you to have a 2.3 and you have to be done with a certain amount of classes before the end of the first semester of your senior year.
Okay.
And that leads into early enrollment, which is what some kids chose to do. Manny Covey, Chase and Clark, they got it done by that first semester. So that's why they were able to leave in December, because they already met the NCAA eligibility requirements and they've already met their graduation requirements as well.
And one question I definitely want to ask you about. So, looking at some athletes who may not have had the exposure and probably didn't
Mm-hmm.
get big recruitment, but they have the grades,
Mm-hmm.
and they probably want to go. They want to go, extend their athletic career. So,
Mm-hmm.
how does having those grades like really help them, like far as a school like an NAIA school or a local HBCU?
So with that prime example, Edward Waters, they were NAIA, I'm sorry, when Malik and those guys went. But because of their GPAs, they all got presidential scholarships added too because their academics were strong. Um, Even like now, say, okay, you didn't get a football scholarship, but you have a really high GPA, you have really good test scores. Okay, apply to the school, say, hey, reach out to the coach. Twitter is your friend. Okay, Twitter is your friend. That's where all the coaches are. If you want to reach them, that's a direct line to them. But talk to the staff. Be like, hey, I applied there. I got accepted. I'm here. This is my academic stuff. And sometimes you get more academic money than you can athletic because smaller D2 they don't have the budgets that the Division One Power Fives have.
Mm-hmm.
So even like this weekend, I was on a visit at EWC with a young lady for volleyball, and because of her academics, her financial package is probably going to look pretty good because they can give her a certain amount of athletic money, but they can give her more academic money because she has good grades. So it works out, and even like that goes to say when your grades are better and your GPA is higher, they can even stack academic money on top of your athletic.
Wow. Yeah, definitely need that.
Yeah.
Um, what's one of the things that you would tell a parent starting off that may have an eighth grader or either a ninth grader right now in high school, like that's trying to get, college?
Be involved. If you have questions, ask. If you don't know, ask. Um, be honest with your kids, first and foremost. But also, you're going to have to invest time, resources, money. All of that is going to matter because camps play a part. They cost. They cost time, they cost travel, all of that. You know what I'm saying? So if your kid, if that's their goal, it has to be a group goal. It can't just be, okay, my son wants to do this and he'll be okay. He'll get there. And yeah, his coaches at the high school level or his or her coaches at the high school level play a certain part in that, but everybody has to do their part because it's not just their sole responsibility either.
Yeah, I've been telling kids that everybody recruitment is not going to be the same. Everybody
Absolutely
have
not.
different,
Hmm.
exposures, and I would say just different experiences dealing with. Depends on what level athlete you are, what tier athlete.
Exactly. And I
Um,
tell them too, don't, even if you guys end up at the same place, how you get there won't be the same. Your journey is never going to be the same, ever. And don't compare, because comparison is going to steal your joy every single time. Every time.
you know, one thing I definitely need to ask you over the summertime, what should these athletes be doing? Because a lot of them, from the training aspect, of
Whew.
course, some of them don't work out and they wait till the season get ready to
Mm,
start, then they try to get in football or whatever shape. But
mm.
as far as grade wise, like, is there anything they could be doing academically over the summer to keep them ahead of the curve or put them, back up to where they need to be at far as transcript wise?
For the virtual, you can literally go to your guidance counselor at the school. Actually, you can log into your focus. There's a tab that says grad requirements, and it'll show you what classes you have taken. Or you can go and sit down with your guidance counselor and be like, listen, this is what I'm trying to do. What classes do I need to take, starting now? For the virtual flex, you can take classes all year long and you can start them whenever, and you have to be in them for 14 days before they can issue you a grade. But you can literally take classes up to three, I think is if you're fully enrolled at the high school. You can take up to three extra classes. So why not?
And I already know a lot of parents may know, or they may ask, how much does this cost?
It's free, completely free. All you have to do is make the account.